We awoke at Toroweap on day 2 to increasing winds, but still moderate temperatures. We had decided to modify our original route due to reports of poor road conditions. So we would head to Gunsight Point, which would make this a rather short travel day. We all preferred shorter travel days with lots of time in camp to enjoy each other's company and the site where we were camped. These were preferable to long-haul days driving and setting up camp and preparing dinner in the dark. But we remained concerned about the forecast for worsening weather.
We are going to roll out towards Fredonia, take a different way out than we took in. And in Fredonia, I'm pretty sure there's gas. I know, I checked that a couple of weeks ago. I thought there were a couple of gas stations there. Once we reach Fredonia, then we're going to head down towards Gunsight Pass. So this was not in our original plan. And to be honest, I'm kind of dragging my feet, hoping that some of the stuff that's later on that is in our plans has had time to dry out. I would think this wind would be in our favor to dry things out.
Well, a lot of the water, like a lot of the mud the kids are playing in, is already starting to dry out.
Yeah, but how much of that was them stuff you were down?
Yeah, maybe. They were absorbing
They were spreading it.
Not to argue with you, I just wanted to have a counterpoint.
So we will definitely stop and gas up in Fredonia.
That's a really pretty scene.
Yeah, it's really pretty valley coming up here.
More rough. Once we reached Highway 389, we headed to nearby Fredonia and fueled up. That included diesel for Jack's Wrangler and coffee for most of us. Ready to tackle more, we continued the short distance past the town to the turnoff along Highway 89A to Gunsight Point.
There's still a high wind advisory, so look out for any high winds.
I'm looking way up and all I'm seeing is clouds.
Do you guys notice how much the awning above the gas cap, the pumps was swaying? Roger, we did. Puddle, Mark.
Yeah, I came around too fast to move over.
Send it. That was I'm sorry, kid. Yeah, that was awesome. And your whole Jeep is now clean on the front.
That was fun.
Uh-oh, I can't see. Couldn't react to the button. I had to hit the up channel button before it go down. Gunsight Point is a pretty amazing view, but it was really windy up there, reminiscent of Cleopatra's chair a few years ago. Just not conducive to trying to set up a feed. We're coming back this way, find a place with a few trees where maybe we can get at least a little bit of shelter from the wind and have some lunch and figure out what our options are for the rest of the day. Jack, what's up?
The shocks are blown, so the trailer lid won't stay up without any weight on it.
Oh, okay. You had some spares, huh?
I have spares for this occasion. I knew it was coming.
Well, I'll tell you what, winter, we calling this the spring adventure, but doggone it, winter's...
It's cold.
It's cold. And we had a little bit of sleet, I think, come down there. Adam, what have you got going on here?
Well, this is a experimental heater for the tent. We took out the passenger side vent and put in a replacement vent that has the core removed.
Let's show up in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
So I shoved in a 2.5 inch shop vac hose, and it's just running up into the tent. I closed all the other vents on the dash, put it on full heat, full fan. I hit the remote for the remote start. If we get cold,
You mean you don't even have to get out of the tent in
don't have
order
to get
to...
out of the tent, just hit the remote start, and it'll run for 10 or 15 minutes unless I hit the button and shut it off.
We had decided to spend the night camped a few miles from Gunsight Point amongst some trees that offered limited shelter from the wind. But boy, was it cold. There would be no campfire tonight. Instead, we all retreated for an early evening in the sack. Good morning, everyone. It was windy and a cold front came in and temperatures down in the teens. I don't know exactly what, but forecast for 16 degrees in Caneb, which is not too far from here. And a little bit of snow fell through the night. That was unexpected. Oh well, try and get some coffee going here.
How you doing?
Are you cold?
Yeah, he's cold.
Your dad doesn't seem to be cold. He's nuts. Look at this. Short pants. That definitely looks like the right thing.
This is what?
They don't look very happy though.
No, I was saying
It's cold. Okay, I'll let your dad close the door. I see stirring over here at the Adam and Doreen camp.
Good morning. How are you?
Kind of cold.
Yeah, it turns out there's a bug in my system of using the hose in the Jeep.
Uh-oh.
You can run it once, but you can't start it a second time unless I think you've opened a door.
Oh.
So I tested it last night. Okay, it's working great. And then in the middle of the night, I thought, oh, I'll turn it on. And
Oh, no. We're going to do the morning get-together on the radio from our warm Jeeps. All right.
Mark's up on 6, WRN 924. Everybody on the radio. We should have done this last night when the wind was really blowing, just for a quick end of day and say goodnight to each other. It was miserable yesterday. Since we didn't do it yesterday, what did everybody think about yesterday? Let's start with Jack. Callie, the boys.
Fun. The wind was pretty surprising.
Well, Bob warned us about the wind, didn't he?
I don't know. I got a notification on my fancy Jeep that said wind advisory.
Oh, my Gladiator does that too. Yeah, that's interesting. You can even look at a map with it. Adam and Doreen, how did you guys think of yesterday?
Yeah, pretty windy. I mean, it was almost strong enough to blow you off your feet. Temps last night were cold, but we managed with, let's see, a wool blanket, a sleeping bag, a fleece, and another sleeping bag on top of that. We were nice and toasty warm.
Beautiful scenery at the point, just too windy.
Dan and Brenda?
Yeah, I'll go with the wind theme. It was really pretty out on the point. Last night, used that vector down quilt, and that thing was pretty amazing.
All right, today we are, I believe we were in agreement we're going to try and go to Marble Canyon and camp above there. This was an extra day thrown in order to drag our feet. Because it's nice now and there's snow, it might be interesting. Does anybody want to go back to Gunsight Point and have another second look at it in a little bit more stable conditions?
Well, I would say I would go back to Gunsight Point, but we don't have to.
It's not very far. Actually, Adam can probably tell us exactly how far. I'd hazard a guess, but he'd say, "Oh no, you're 0.7 miles off."
Yeah, we don't mind.
Dan, you all right going?
Yeah, we're good. Let's roll. So did anybody get a temperature reading? What was the lowest anybody saw, if anybody saw anything at all? It's 23 now. I thought that's as cold as it got last night.
I'm gonna guess we got maybe even into the teens.
Our second visit to Gunsight Point, this time with mild winds and snow-covered, was definitely a smart move. We then headed back to Fredonia, where we gassed up in anticipation of the next fuel stop not being for several days in Big Water, Utah. Today we drive along Highway 89A, passing through Jacob Lake, which is near the entrance to Grand Canyon's north rim. We descend from the mountains to the Vermilion Cliffs area, then head south over BLM and USFS land to find a campsite on the rim of Grand Canyon National Park, but above Marble Canyon. What was our elevation just now?
78, 75.
A lot of snow up here.
So we're turning left and 9.7 miles on House Rock.
You want to be in four-wheel drive before you get stuck.
I turned it on before I got into it.
Had a camera in my hand.
windshield from Adam earlier when I was following him. It kicked up, it hit my windshield, and I heard it. But now that my windshield's clean, I got a spider going down low, so I'm gonna need a new windshield. I saw that rock. It came from the car in front of me. That looks like there's somebody here.
When we arrived at our first preference for a campsite, it was already occupied. We asked the folks who were there if they were okay if we briefly admired the view. They were, and they also recommended another campsite that was along the area we planned to explore as an alternative site.
Look at that.
That's the Grand Canyon.
This is Marble Canyon, but it leads into the Grand Canyon.
This looks nice.
Dan, what'd you think about today?
Let's see. Yeah, I really enjoyed today. The views were spectacular. Actually, running back out to the point in the morning, that was kind of a highlight. Seeing it without wind, but also a dusting of snow across the canyon. That was neat. And then our camping spot tonight is pretty fantastic without wind. But again, cold, following the theme. Yeah, loved it.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah, definitely cold. We tested the limits of what we have in the tent to keep us warm, and it worked. Like Dan said, it was cool seeing the snow dusting on the hills. Yeah, when we got here today and I was setting up the tent, there were still icicles and snow in the cover, under the cover of the tent. So it was cold all day, actually. The canyon view at the first spot we went to, where the guy had already set up camp, was wonderful. But this one's also wonderful in some different ways. You don't get one big view, but if you go to 3 or 4 different places, you see some pretty interesting stuff, all different.
Jack or Callie, if she's wants to contribute, what'd you all think of today?
Well, it was cold this morning, and the snow was fine until we had to get out of our sleeping bags. The going to the Gunsight Point again was really cool. All the views are great. I actually think this campsite is better than the one that guy was at. I feel like we're more surrounded by the canyon.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And if I'd known this campsite was so nice, I wouldn't have suggested we go out to that other one. I suggested we go out there so you could see kind of what the canyon looks like and the river and everything. And I didn't realize how well we were going to appreciate this one. And yeah, I'm glad we went back to Gunsight. So we're all ready to leave. Anybody know what the real time is? Actually, I think I turned my phone on.
8:40.
What time zone are we in?
9:39.
8:40. 8:40.
My phone is not updating.
Well, somewhere it's 8:40.
I'll go with the 8:40 because my phone was an hour. It didn't update when we crossed down from into Arizona yesterday.
Oh, told you guys, you got to keep an eye on me. I left the lens cap on the GoPro all morning.
Starting audio recording.
Starting audio.